Oh, hello. Coming in hot. I love it.
Episode 705. Susan and Sarah.
Susie's feeling alive.
Yeah. Susan and Sarah. This generation's Thelma and Louise without the...
Minus the joint suicide.
Without the death, yeah. How are you?
I'm doing good. I had a nice drug test this morning. That's always fun.
Oh, yeah. Was it like pee in a cup?
Yeah, pee in a cup. It was because I got a new doctor and, Adderall is a controlled substance. Like, you'd think I don't know. Like, I get it. I totally do. So
I don't. I think it's ridiculous.
They made me take a drug test last month. I think they're doing it to make sure and the thing was, I thought they were testing for weed this time because it came back. It was definitely positive for weed. Obviously. I told her that. I told her, I'm like, this is what I do.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, I don't mind. And so it's not a problem. And so when they tested me again, they didn't test me for that. It was only for 5 drugs. That was the bad stuff, like cocaine, amphetamines, opioids. I think they wanted to just double check that after a month of big, I'm not.
I do not understand.
I don't know. She just said, she was like, yeah, I just have to check these boxes. So I don't know. Maybe it's they make them do this in order to, I don't fucking know.
I don't either.
Yeah. I read a whole article about what's happening with Adderall and why there's a shortage. And after the opioid crisis, there was a limitation, some sort of limitation that the drug companies put on the amount of any controlled substance that they're able to release, but they do not tell the doctors, or they don't communicate the wholesale, the wholesaler of the drug, the one who provides the ingredients to make it, has a cap of how much they're allowed to disperse, but they keep that to themselves. They do not tell. That's not something that doctors are aware of. So there's this gap in the awareness of the pharmaceutical companies with the wholesalers of these drugs. It's terrible. It's all messed up. And this is one of the consequences. It's fine if it's being overprescribed, but now we have a rise of people who are getting diagnosed and things like that. So now there's a
well, maybe now that everyone's doing Ozempic instead, maybe the people that were abusing Adderall.
Maybe. Yeah. I'm I have been on this for years, and this is so.
I feel like I should be able to give a character. What do they do?
That's what, honestly, Suze, I was thinking that as I was they should really have a letter of recommendation. I mean, all you have to do is ask
I would
Eli
recommend
and ask
you for
Susie.
This. Yeah.
And or any professor I've ever had, who are the ones who
anyone you've ever dated.
Yes. And they'd be like, yes, she absolutely 100% is better on the meds.
I'm glad we're talking about this actually, because I wanted to ask you about this. So I know that, on TikTok and everywhere, there's all this stupid, I don't know what, it's justice for ADHD people, where they like to read these missives about how they're the victims or whatever. And don't be sad. You're just different. You're not worse or whatever. And it's all these inspirational posts for you people. And, and it annoys me because, let me see if I can find it. There was this one, and it was basically saying you're not doing anything wrong. You're perfect just the way you are. Okay, so this was actually one of our brainiacs. I think she may have even posted it or tagged me in it or something, because that's how it came to my attention. And it was probably so that I would show it to you as a way of saying you're just perfect the way you are, whatever. And one of the slides on Instagram was about how people with ADHD mask and they try to act like they don't have it. They want to appear neurotypical.
Right. Yeah.
And you go to all this effort to not seem like a weirdo.
Yeah.
And
just one of the mistakes. Forget things. Be a weirdo. Yeah. Oh.
And one of the slides said the following: we can get into such a habit of masking our ADHD symptoms that we end up generalizing this behavior and shift most parts of us to be pleasing to others. And what annoyed me about this sentence was the word pleasing. Because it's not pleasing to me if you show up on time. It's just the right thing to do.
Yeah. One of the episodes of This Changes Everything that we want to do is talking about how you can't mental health your way out of accountability, needing to take accountability. And just because it's kind of, this is like silly, but I say the same thing about people when they read their horoscopes. Like, these are not things just be like, well, this is just how I am. I'm a Pisces. I just am like this. Pisces. You can't just do that. You can't be like, well, I just have ADHD. That's why I can't do this. It means that you're going to have to create a different structure or routine to be able to operate in a way that makes it so you can function in the society that we live in. You can't say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm late, I have ADHD. No, if you have ADHD, then you have to create a better morning routine and a better system, and maybe have an alarm, that's set up so Alexa tells me time to go to work. And that's like half an hour before I go to work. And then maybe she says 15 minutes later, okay, you should be heading out the door, or whatever it is, or like Post-it notes all over the house to remind you what to do. I have whiteboards all over the place so that when I have something pop in my head, because I usually like think of what I need to do when I'm in a place where it's not helpful, like going to the bathroom or at the refrigerator. So I put whiteboards all over the place where I can just write down those things, and then I see that and they work as reminders. So you have to work with what you got.
Yeah. And I acknowledge that if you are, if you have ADHD or dyslexia or lots of other things, if you're on the spectrum, if you're neuroatypical, it is challenging.
Yeah.
And this world is not designed for you. And you're expected to conform to something that is completely antithetical to your makeup.
Yeah.
And that sucks.
Yeah.
I just would argue that is true for everybody in some way.
Yeah, that's true. And we have to try in different ways. And like the medication, when I take that, it's not like it magically makes it so I'm not late it just like gives me an ability to focus on the structure and follow through with the structure that I've already built. That you have to first do the work to create the routine, and then the medication will help support that. But no medication is going to like magically make you like on time and like not forget things that are not like.
And by the way, Sarah's always on time, and this is not something that I deal with you, but I understand that your nature.
Yeah. I have
like
to work
if you
with
just went with what you felt like, I would
always be 5 to 10 minutes late. It's not until people bring it to my attention. You know what did it for me is when you bought me the clock that said, whatever, I'm always late.
Yeah, because she used to be.
I used to be always late, and I am living proof that if somebody brings that to your attention, and the thing was, I didn't even know that it was as big of a problem as it was. Not like, but it's like 10 minutes, and that's like rude. And 5 minutes, whatever it is.
Well, I think when you're younger, it's charming. And it's like this funny, I'm quirky.
I never thought it was charming. I always had anxiety about it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But it was because I didn't recognize that I can't do something like, okay, let me just run real quick and do this return at Target on my way to Susie's house. I stopped doing those things. It was like an impulse thing. It was more of a time management than it was like, it was that I would not recognize how long things would take. So I had to start to do things like set timers for myself to actually train my brain how long things take. Like in my mind, it takes 20 mintes to make
bed. Because you're optimistic.
It takes 36 seconds. I know exactly how long it takes.
I totally get it now. I really do. I really hate this thing that's happening culturally.
Yeah. I just read a whole article on it on on they call it therapy speak.
Oh, the Bustle article.
Yeah. And how this therapy speak is making it so people are saying, well, they're almost like ghosting their friends. And really what it is like shitty people are going to be shitty people. They're just going to use different things as an excuse like they've always done. Like some people are like, well, the Bible says, blah, 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 blah. And then they use that as an excuse to be a shitty person.
Exactly.
People have always used different things. This is just the flavor of the month, what we're using for what shitty people are using to justify shitty behavior.
That article, they specifically kept referencing that verbiage that people, it's like Gen Z people mostly that they always say like, I feel unsafe now. Go fuck yourself. I'll make you feel unsafe if you say that again.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it.
That is like, I can see how, I do too, because I can see how this, you know, even like there are all these therapist memes everywhere that will joke around about how, you know, we'll talk to our clients about something and then they'll go and deliver that message out in the world and they'll be like, my therapist says you need a fucking cannon. And I was like, whoa, I didn't say any of those things. But I'm like, that's not what I said. That's
how they interpret it.
I think that's what's happening is people are not, you know, even on This Changes Everything, our therapy themed podcast, you know, it's like we talk about these things, but this is not a replacement for therapy. This is like the work that you do with a therapist will help you know when is an appropriate time to use those. A therapist will hold you accountable and will be like, well, what's your role in
a good therapist will do that. A good
therapist will identify your role, will help you identify your role in the problem cycle, because you can't change anybody. That is a big thing that we talk about, how to respond, and you're responsible for your own actions. And yeah, I think people are going like not wanting to deal with the actions of others. So they just go, they confuse I'm uncomfortable with I'm unsafe. I
hate it.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're uncomfortable.
Words mean things, dummies.
They definitely do, and people are. I would agree with you. Yes,
it's totally. Always funny though in those articles because Therapy Jeff always comes up, and he on his social media he does a really good job of distilling complicated topics into something that's palatable. But what you lose, of course, is nuance because social media isn't designed for that,
right?
And he does in the articles always say that, like, this is just general, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's not specific to one person or whatever. Yeah. But, and hey, that guy, he's doing a great job making a brand and marketing himself and making, that's his job.
Yeah.
He wants to make some loot. I don't blame him, but stop using his fun things as a way to get out of being a decent human being, you fucking loser.
Don't worry. That episode is coming.
I know.
We talked about that. We were like, we got to do one on like, you can't mental health your way out of accountability. That was going to be like our first episode we ever did. We're like, maybe we'll give it to them a little bit.
Yeah. You got to like give them the like easy stuff and then be like, by the way,
here's how you use this now.
Well, I noticed when I watch YouTube every evening to wind down, I watch a lot of comedians talking about comedy, and I always start to become more conservative again. You know, I used to be conservative and now I'm a liberal, but whenever I hear them talk about how annoying people are, about how like you're not allowed to make jokes about anything anymore, I start to go like, you know what? I think I'm a conservative again because I understand the point. Like racism ain't funny. And all sorts of things aren't funny, but I feel like we've overcorrected, and now people want to say like nothing's funny.
Right.
And I really hate it. Like we need to be able to laugh at ourselves.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, and if you get offended a lot, maybe don't do that.
Yeah.
It's very self-centered.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I heard a new term, rage baiting.
Ooh, yeah.
I didn't know about that before. I think that's kind of falls into the same category of like people who are doing these things because it's baiting in a way.
Yeah, and the
people
audience
used to do that to me on comments, like they want me to respond.
Yeah,
and then people I think got the hint that I'm never going to take the bait, and then I'll stop fishing in this pond.
Yes. And because if you really want attention and you don't care if it's good or bad, then that's a great way to get it.
And here's the crazy thing is I don't think people know that they want attention.
Right.
I don't think that that's a conscious thought. I don't think people go on there thinking ooh, I would really love some attention right now. I think they're looking in a way to capture, well, the attention, but not like
they're just not self-aware.
Yeah,
of
it's a lack of self-awareness, and it's like I talk about this in therapy all the time with my clients. We want to be active rather than reactive, and to me, that sort of like jumping on somebody for those things is so reactive, rather than taking an active stance to make a change in whatever you are responding on. I would love to know if the people who are talking about like, oh, well, you said this term wrong, are calling their senator about issues regarding the same thing to actually have things done. That's an active
and that takes
approach.
effort.
And that takes effort versus a reactive one. Oh, somebody said something I didn't like. Let me react.
Exactly.
That does not help the situation, but an active approach would.
Because what did
I'm
you
taking
think?
new clients in case anybody's interested in therapy with Sarah.
Yes, I'm so glad you said that.
You can email me at sarah@solutionsoc.com.
sarah@solutionsoc.com.
Yes.
Please reach out to Sarah if you're thinking about it, because
if you are in the state of California, I should say.
Yeah, Californians.
Yes.
If you're not seeing Sarah, you're missing out.
Yeah, I got the good stuff. We can get specific and we can get into the context and the stuff, and it makes all the difference and fast.
What did you think at the time of for example, the Kathy Griffin Trump head?
Who cares? I don't give a shit.
At the time, you didn't think like
too far. No. I do not think the man who is a caricature.
What about it? What if it were Obama's head, though? Okay, so that's a political opinion then.
It is,
because for me it wouldn't matter. Like I don't like either one. I don't think it's a funny joke. I don't know what your point is.
Right, but I think that a comedian can.
I think that's just tasteless, but I don't really give a shit.
Yeah, and I think it was done a bunch of times too. Like that was. Similar things were being said, I think. On
the sort of other side, I equally don't think Roseanne should have lost her job for that tweet that she did.
Yeah.
I thought it was not a nice tweet. I thought it was really bad taste and offensive, but I don't think the punishment fit the crime. Mm-hmm. I just don't. I don't understand all that, Jess.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to watch the show. Like, you don't have to support these people.
Right.
I'm like, God, there's so many worse things to worry about right now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's for sure. And you know what? I think that might be what is happening is that people feel like they're angry and upset at something.
Yeah.
And it's in a way like, what do they call it? It's
like anger displacement.
Yes. Anger. Yeah. Thank you. It's anger displacement. Mm-hmm. You are taking the anger that you have over things that are going on, over there's some whatever it may be, and this is the thing you can point to. It's kind of like I talked before about that feeling of anxiety that it's almost like you're like holding it, like looking like what bucket do I dump this in? This got to go somewhere. I know it, and you just look for whatever's closest to you, rather than working on getting rid of the anxiety that you're carrying around.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're like, oh, it must be this. I must be anxious because of that. No, it's this thing that happened way long time ago that you can't even identify. And we think it's because our boyfriend loaded the dishwasher wrong.
Yeah. Or like, income inequality or like actual societal problems.
Right.
I don't know. Right. That's my conservative rant for the day, apparently.
Yes. This is like the black ants, red ants, and we should be looking at who's shaking the jar.
Yes, I think so. But I'm open. If you guys, if you folks disagree, you let me know and I'll consider your point. One thing we should all agree on.
Yeah. She got excited there.
Well, because I've heard from so many listeners about this, so I'm like excited to talk about it. But the Smalls cat food is sweeping the nation.
Oh, as a non-cat owner, like that was real enthusiasm that I just got. Like Susie was just like, "Oh, God, I have to tell you, I have to.
Sarah, because
I get it.
to God,
that stinky, that I get
disgusting.
it. One time I house sat for somebody with a cat, and I was like,
and like you put this thing over your face, and like you just like hold it away from you, and it's so gross.
It kind of does that one little like splash move at the end where you're just like, and like talk about mysterious wetness, even when you know where it's going. It's like,
it's so gross. And so to me, it feels miraculous because they somehow made cat food that does not smell.
Yeah,
wet cat food that doesn't smell. I do not understand it. It's human grade, people. Like this stuff you could theoretically eat, and that is bizarre, but my God,
maybe,
my cats go bananas for this stuff. It's hilarious. We're gonna make a video because my cat will talk to me like,
yes, I know
ready.
this.
I'm ready. And I'm
as
like,
a
are you
watcher
ready?
of your cat one time. This was not the one with the stinky tuna fish. That was another person.
Yes,
but your cat will absolutely
we
talk
have conversations.
To you. I couldn't even believe it.
It's hilarious. And I was always dry cat food because I would not put up with the stinky stuff. And now I cannot believe it, but it's a miracle. Smalls is the solution. The cats love it. It's so healthy for them. And so like, if you got a chubby cat or whatever, this can help like get the situation under control. High quality ingredients. Let me give you the deal. Hold on. Let me find it. Where is it? Wait. Oh, here it is. Okay. High quality ingredients mean a healthier and happier life for your kitty. So head to smalls.com/brainkitty and use promo code brainkitty at checkout for 50% off your first order plus free shipping. That's the best offer you'll find, but you have to use the code brainkitty for 50% off your first order. One last time, promo code brainkitty for 50% off your first order
50?
plus free shipping. Yeah. But make sure you use the code. So even if you do like smalls.com/brainkitty, make sure you use the code.
Did you already say that?
Like the opposite of big.
Like regular?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was
like
thinking
biggie.
maybe they like smalls. Got it.
Yeah, it's great. Anyway, okay, so that was my conservative rant.
I wonder if her notes actually said conservative rant.
No, it wasn't even in my notes. I just think it all the time, and I'm like, oh my gosh, am I becoming a conservative again?
No, I don't even know if conservative is the right word for it because I feel like that's too much of like an umbrella term that like covers like ideas about like, I think it's more like, I don't know. You're asking people to like do some critical thinking. I think it's more like I don't know. I want to find another word for it.
I would argue that on the liberal side are all these people that say you have to word things exactly right. You have to call people this name or blah, blah, blah. It's so prescriptive.
Yeah, I get that.
And on the conservative side, it's more about like lighten up.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
For me, it's about intention. What's the intention?
Mm-hmm.
And
yes,
that should be
very important. It's hard in a soundbite world.
Yeah.
And a 15-second story world to really show show intention and for people to even like pay attention long enough to
nuance is
nuance.
Yeah. Rare. Yeah. Okay. So that's the scoop on that. I saw a while ago this article in New York Times and I always forget to share it. It's I think it was, let me look. David Brooks, I think. Yeah, David Brooks did it's not even really an article, it's a list. The greatest life hacks in the world for now.
Well, I love a life hack.
And these are so good. And it's more just like advice.
Okay.
More than like, silly tips for baking or something.
This is like how to hack your life. Yeah.
So I just thought we could go through a few of them and like revel in the genius. Okay. When you have 90% of a large project completed, finishing up the final details will take another 90%. That's not even a life hack. That's just the truth.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see. it's not an apology if it comes with an excuse.
This is the I'm sorry,
That's
but.
the truth. Yes.
Or I'm sorry you feel that way.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's just like good to remember that. Anytime you hear that when someone makes an apology, be like, you just canceled out the first part.
Mm-hmm.
If you think you saw a mouse, you did. And if there is one, there are others.
Oh God, I hate that one. I know it to be true, but I never. Every single time I think I see a mouse, I hope that I don't, and I hope that there always are.
I wonder though if it's true for you because I feel like you're having like mouse mirages. Because like you're so scared. Yeah, you have such a phobia. You might be creating.
No, I think I was 100% convinced that I saw one when it was dead underneath my trash can. Like it had gotten squished in some moving process. I don't know. And when one of them gets squished, then you have to assume other ones made it. Oh. And like, that's it. And I was like, oh, I got to tell somebody that I saw it. Okay.
How about this one?
I did hear that, well, before we get off the topic of mice, that if you go to Sequoia National Park and you stand next to General Sherman, the tallest tree, that it is the equivalent of what a mouse feels like when he's standing next to a 6 foot tall person. So when I saw that, I was like, whoa, that is so scary. I should not be afraid of mice. They are very scared of General Sherman me. So
don't you feel like the reason that you're scared in part though is because like they might just run up your whole body?
That is because they already have, and that is exactly what I was in the movie theater and it ran on my leg.
They're climbers.
They climbed on my leg and then fucking Spider-Man himself to the side of the carpeted wall and then kept going. It was I will never forget exactly where I was sitting in that theater. And
because we're never going to look up at what do you call it? General Sherman?
Yeah.
Okay. We're never going to be at the bottom of that and then just climb up it. No problem.
No, you are so right. That is so true. And that tree is not like, oh, okay, like, go ahead. It's like fenced out. No, you're totally right. It's like, fuck you. I'll climb you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're so fast. Okay.
I shouldn't have brought up the mouse.
I know. This was your fault.
Something does not need to be perfect to be wonderful, especially weddings.
Oh, that is such a good one.
Yeah.
I mean, as somebody who has been married and divorced and like, who cares?
Who cares?
Do what you want to do. It's not going to matter. Like
the wedding industry is a scam. I don't know.
It is such a scam.
Mm-hmm. Unless somebody wants to pay for it for you, then whatever.
If you have to do whatever. Like I'm like, I don't care if somebody wants to. Yeah, sure. Because it doesn't matter. Like the love matters. Yeah. The vows matter. The connection matters. The
dancing matters.
The dancing definitely matters. And the open bar matters. Come on, don't be ridiculous.
That does matter. Yeah, it does. The biggest lie we tell ourselves is, I don't need to write this down because I will remember it.
Oh, that's why I have whiteboards everywhere.
Yeah.
You're never going to remember that thing. Never.
It's especially true when I've had an edible.
Oh, forget it.
I mean, literally. I always am like, this is okay, remember how I text you and I said I had that great idea?
That was so great. I love when Susie gets stoned and texts me good ideas.
I had another one the other day and I almost texted you and then I'm like, you know what?
No, what? We need to get rid of that filter. Whatever that voice is, get that one out of there.
Okay, well, here's what
Text
it was. Tell me if you think it's
funny.
Is this a good idea? So now that, I'm not high. The idea was, I felt like we needed 2 episodes. Why are these ideas always of brain candy? I don't know.
I love this.
We need 2 episodes of brain candy. One where I just get to interview you for an hour. And then the next one is like, you get to interview me for an hour. And like, I would probably learn so much about you.
And about you.
And I would love that. And I feel like the audience would love it. It was in my mind though. It seemed like, why haven't we done this?
Yeah, because you're such a better interviewer than me. I'd be like, what's your favorite kind of ice cream? Why? If you were a kitchen utensil, what would you be? And you'd be like,
wait,
Sarah.
why do you think that is true if it is? Like,
What?
Why aren't you, quote, a good interviewer?
I think it's because when I do therapy, I am aware that somebody is signing a piece of paper that consents to let me ask the questions that I'm asking. So it allows me to get personal and ask really difficult questions. And unless I have that like permission slip from somebody to ask the questions, it feels like it's I had a therapist once who said, like, no ask, no advice. Like, don't, like, if somebody wants your advice, they'll ask for it. And, like, I know that's about asking for advice, not, like, interviewing
Do you think
somebody.
that's true, though? Because I feel like people really love talking about themselves. And I'm happy to indulge that.
Yeah, it's hard for me to not turn it into, like, here's what you should do.
Really?
Like, yeah. Give, like, prescriptions for.
Oh.
Like, I don't know, maybe.
Okay, well, just, think about
hey, I could put together, I could definitely do that. I know you well enough.
All right. Just something to think about.
Some questions.
Let's see.
You would just end up turning it around, though. I'll ask you a question. You'd be like, I don't know. What about you?
Yeah,
and I'd be
that's
like,
true.
Oh, yes, definitely. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, then I'm just answering all my own questions is what that episode would be.
I think this is great advice. Always make the call. If you're disturbed or confused by something somebody did, always pick up the phone. I would agree with that.
I would totally agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
And because we can't mind read. And the majority of the time, what we think is not true.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is definitely true. I even noticed this when you're choosing between two options at a restaurant.
Oh, okay.
If you can't make up your mind between two options, flip a coin. Don't decide based on which side of the coin came up. Decide based on your emotional reaction to which side came up.
That's very good. Because
you think you can't decide, but if somebody chooses for you or a coin chooses for you, then you know how you really feel.
Yeah. And if you're like, it's kind of like the pregnancy test. I don't know why. It reminds me of like taking a pregnancy test, how like sometimes if you take the pregnancy test and it's negative and there's that feeling of like, oh.
Like you think you didn't want to be pregnant, but then you're disappointed.
But then you're disappointed. It's like, maybe I, in a way, am okay with this or whatever it is, like just interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Take photos of things your parents do every day. That's how you'll want to remember them. I agree.
Oh, that's sweet. It's like what you said about the more daily stuff.
Yeah.
Like what you loved about photos in, the 70s, 80s, and 90s is that they were all daily stuff. They were more just like
And
life.
Sometimes you look ugly in them.
And that's fine. And then, but like you're ugly as somebody else's. Oh my gosh, look at how beautiful my mom looks in this picture.
Or like that's a classic look. Like I remember when she would make that face or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I always think about how, historians are always searching for artifacts that represent daily life because what people tended to save were the important things, the christening dress or the wedding dresses. But we want to know, like, what did you wear to go to work?
Yeah.
And that's what is more meaningful, like long term.
Yeah.
And so I love that advice and if your parents are alive and you speak to them, ask them the stuff.
Yeah.
Like the stuff about their life.
Yeah. Asking those questions to my grandma before she passed away was really special.
What do you wish you would have asked? Nothing, right? Because you had time? Do you wish you would have asked anything?
I got an opportunity to ask her a lot of questions on that about her life. And I think it's an opportunity that I had that my mom didn't maybe have that, because who knows? Like there were some things that my grandma told me that my mom was like, what? She didn't tell me that. And, it felt like I got a lot of honesty from her that she was very open with me in her final years. And I'll never forget, I asked her what the worst invention that she's seen was? And she said the credit card. Because she lived almost 100 years, you know? That's for like, she saw a lot of shit come and go. And Eliza said, what's the worst invention? I asked her what the best one was. I think she said the internet. She was very excited when the internet came out.
I beg to differ.
Oh my God. Especially these fucking chat GPT things that are basically like lying to humans and going to destroy the earth. Forget it. We're done.
Anyways. Okay. Build identity capital. In your 20s, do 3 fascinating things that job interviewers and dinner companions will want to ask you about for the rest of your life. I think that the shorter version of that is just say yes to more stuff.
Yeah, but no to reality television.
Would you?
No, I mean, that is that's the thing that we did in our 20s that people want to talk about for the rest of our lives. Obviously, Susie. So
I guess what I would say is say no to watching it.
Right. Be a smart consumer of it.
This is what my rant's about Vanderpump Rules and stuff. I'm like, you folks are a little too invested in these bozos. I can't emphasize enough what losers everyone on reality television is, including me.
Totally. Like nothing special. Regular,
just attention seeking.
Including me.
Really? Yeah, that's the thing. We admit it.
Right. It's like, no, everybody's the same.
How about this one? Yeah. Marriage is a 50-year conversation. Marry someone you want to talk with for the rest of your life.
Yes, it is.
I love that.
That's great. I love that too.
I'll tell you what else I love. Lumi, because what is not to love?
You know how? Maybe you guys know this. If you are a person that menstruates.
Oh, yeah.
There is something that happens like the week before.
Mm-hmm.
It is a body odor that cannot be removed by normal soap
extra powerful
water. Like, what the F is that? I do not know. I am so grateful. The other day, I was woken up in the middle of the night by cramps, and I went and I took a bath, and then I got out of the bath, and I was like, oh, I still smell. This is terrible. What am I going to do? Get in the bath again? No, I can't do that. Lumi deodorant. Coconut is such a great summer scent too.
Yeah.
I mean, fresh as a daisy under there.
Yeah, problem solved.
Problem solved. I was like, okay, no problem. Now I can
you can be
help
a human.
someone and not be embarrassed about it. Not walk around with my hands tucked in all day long.
Well, what makes Lumi exceptional, in my estimation, apart from the fact that it works great and smells great, is that this stuff you can put head to toe.
Head to toe. And they have wipes. This is if you are somebody who likes to camp, if you're somebody who has kids who are just running around stinky, and they're just wipe them down.
The wipes are great for travel too.
Yes.
And it's sort of like
airplanes.
Please. You ever take a long flight? You get off that? Disgusting.
And you don't even know until you take your clothes off, and then you get in the shower, and then you and you're like, whoa, I've been smelling like that all day.
Swamp donkeys over here.
Yes.
Well, the thing is that I don't understand really what took us so long, because it's not as if armpits are the only part of our bodies that stink.
Right.
I don't know why we for so long isolated the deodorant for that area. Right. But thank God Lumi came around and we're like, you know what? Your whole body stinks. You know it and I know it. And we're going to sort it out. And they did. And they have a special offer for our listeners. New customers get $5 off a Lumi starter pack with code BRAINCANDY at LumiDeodorant.com. That's LUME. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack when you visit LumiDeodorant.com and use code BRAINCANDY. Again, that's LUME. It rhymes with gloomy, but it's not spelled like that. LUME. What about this one? I'm not into this one.
Okay.
If you're cutting a cake at a birthday party with a bunch of kids howling around you, it's quicker and easier to cut the cake with dental floss, not a knife. Lay it across the cake.
I do know this to be true.
Quicker? How long is it taking you to use a knife, weirdo?
No, because the knife, when you pull it out, it has the frosting on it. It does that thing where you try to slide it out and you have to like wipe it off every single time. Dental floss it's almost like those cheese strings that or the wires that you cut cheese with.
But they said quicker.
I believe it's quicker.
Wow.
I totally would agree with that.
Are cutting wrong.
Susie, it's not the cutting, it's the wiping the knife off. It takes a long time. If you cut a cake and then you pick it back up, you got all that, all the frosting gets on the knife, and then you go stick that same piece in at a new angle. Just gotta
if
make
somebody's
a big old mess.
getting dental floss out at that, I'm like, what are you doing?
I carry it in my bag, so I'm ready.
You do.
Ready to go.
Wait, let me see something. Okay. Okay.
I will say that I'm like to those people who do that cup thing with the cake, because then it just looks
cup
messy.
Thing?
Oh, you're going to end up loving this. That's how this always works. So you could take like a wine glass or a cup, and upside down, you just go like that, like push it down on the cake, and it'll fill the cup with cake, and then you just hand the cup to somebody.
Why would I want cake in a cup?
Susie, I am not the one who invented this. Quit yelling at me. That is it's a thing. Like it became popular on like, I don't know,
TikTok.
Probably. Social media.
My God.
If
somebody handed me a glass of cake, I'd be like, you can shove that right up your ass.
With wine glass. Yeah, that's what they're saying.
That is
cutting a cake with a wine glass.
Death penalty if you do that.
Death penalty, she says. Okay. I'm gonna.
Are you kidding me?
Can you see it? Yep.
That is disgusting.
See that?
Oh, for Pete's sake. What are you in such a hurry for, people?
Look at Susie's like, give me the knife. We're going slow. We're taking our time. Floss. We're treasuring the moments.
Well, for real. Like, where are you going that's like so quick? We're at a party. Let's linger, baby.
Relax.
Take your time, for Pete's sake.
Cut the cake.
I cannot believe people are doing that with wine glasses. That is an abomination.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I did not have that on my bingo card of things Susie would get upset about.
I actually am like genuinely mad.
I know. That's why it's funny to me.
Okay. If you meet a jerk once a month, you've met a jerk. If you meet jerks every day, you're the jerk.
Yep.
Amen.
Yep.
You know those people? They think it's everyone else.
Oh, yeah. And so every now and then when I'm like in one of those moods, I'll have like 3 days where I'm like, God, everybody on customer service is a fucking asshole. And I was like, Lily, maybe I should watch how I'm talking to people on customer service. I had a week where like everything, my health insurance got randomly canceled because they didn't like connect the bills from like one company to another. And like, then they were like, oh, sorry, our mistake. Then it was like the phone, the cable company or whatever it was, internet, like charged me twice. I was like, what is happening?
Yeah.
And it was like that.
I'm on your side, Sarah.
That where I was like, I'm going to kill everyone. And then I by the fourth customer service I talked to, I was not being nice. Okay.
But Sarah, I beg to differ because it's never you. You're the nicest person I know.
Thank you.
You're wrong about this.
Sometimes I can be.
I think sometimes when you're really nice like you are, that then people sniff it out and they know they can shit on you.
Yeah, that's true.
So just consider that. Yeah. I love this one. Never pass up an opportunity to hang out with musicians.
Never.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing cooler than jamming.
Right, like just, can you imagine if you get to hang out with Questlove or something? That guy is endlessly interesting.
Super cool. Yeah.
This is probably good advice for me because this is a story of my life. Don't try to figure out what your life is about. It's too big a question. Just figure out what the next 3 years are about.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
That's good.
Are you a planner?
Nope.
No, you're not.
I don't even know how. Can't even set goals. It's I don't
even set goals.
I should definitely we need to like split the difference between you and me. Like, like
you're
you and
very
I are
in the moment.
Opposite. Yeah. Like it's either like now or not now. And that's the only two times I'm aware of.
Well, you're 37. So in 3 years, you'll be 40. Let's imagine like just for fun. What do you think Sarah, 40-year-old, will be doing?
I have no fucking clue. Because every time I've tried to play this game, what's happened is like I try to play this game.
You got burned.
Yeah. And so I'm like, stop playing this game, because I like imagine myself like married with kids, and that didn't happen. Imagine myself like, you know, in my own private practice, fucking COVID. Like I had to stop like imagining it became too hard. So I am kind of keeping it more like, what am I doing in the next few months? And that feels better for me. I know it's terrible.
Well, I think I see what you're saying though. You've had some bad luck.
Yeah. You know, maybe after a little more like stability, then I could start. But what do you do? You're a big planner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I am a little bit. But I think that's more of a behavior of younger people, because once you're sort of married.
Oh, yeah.
Well, imagining the future.
Right,
because
right.
Once you're with your partner that you think you're going to be with.
Yeah.
And maybe you have a house or something. Like, you don't expect a lot to change.
Right.
I'm not sitting around being like, where will I be? Because I think I know.
Yeah.
Like, but maybe it's what you're saying, that's a delusion.
Mm-hmm. Because I'll always ask people, how many times have things gone exactly as you imagined them?
Right.
I have never one time. There was. I think maybe I've had like one or two clients where I've been worried, like maybe they'll actually say like, oh yeah, that. And then I'm always like, they're always like, no, never. Yeah. Okay, good. This still holds to be true. Okay.
You're right.
That we can plan. What's that saying? Like, we plan, God laughs, or something like that. Like, it's like, go ahead, plan all you want. But it's more, I think the better question to ask, I'm going to get all deep right now. Not where do I want to be, but who do I want to be 2 or 3 years from now? Because that fully fucking in your control.
I like that.
That's good. I like that too.
Yeah, that's good.
Because that I can control. You know who
Put that on a whiteboard.
I want to be somebody who's better, who better manages their time. Somebody who has better boundaries around their free time. Somebody who, I could come up with no problem. And if you focus on who you are, then just like we were saying, like, who's the jerk? Like, you can have all the other things will benefit from that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's great advice. I love that. How about this? You can always tell someone to go to hell tomorrow. I mean, but you could tell them today.
Yeah.
What about today? Why put off tomorrow?
Till tomorrow. You could get done today. Yeah. Sometimes it's important to ask, like, what do you think will come from this? Okay, so you'll tell them to go, because we have this idea that like revenge or saying it or really like, oh, I told them, well, it's going to feel so good. No, it really doesn't.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess I've never actually told someone to go to hell.
Yeah. Like,
have you?
No.
Go to hell? Who says that?
No.
That's like in the movies. I have only.
Yeah, I think they're saying like, fuck off could also work as a replacement. Yeah.
Okay, last one. Don't ever look up a recent photo of your first great love. Why? What does that mean?
Yeah, what do you think that's about?
Do you think it's that no matter what, it's upsetting? Like if they're hot, you're upset, and if they're ugly or something, then...
No, because why would you be upset if you're...
I don't care.
I wouldn't care either way.
What is the implication there?
I don't know. That we're going to be doing some comparison or like feel like...
yeah, maybe you get too in your head about like the what ifs.
Yeah. Okay. And sometimes, we've talked about this with the challenge, how it's kind of like a bad relationship, how, we're gone long enough and we're like, oh man, maybe we should get back with them.
That is a really good point, Sarah.
Yeah. So maybe, and then our brain does this thing. So our brain only knows what we've already experienced. It has no understanding. Like it can't even think about like before you met the person that you're with right now. You had no even idea of them in your mind. And so our brain, like say you are, you're like in a relationship and you break up with somebody and you're like in that like raw, very vulnerable place. but you like want connection and you want closeness. Our brain will often go to the file cabinet for connection and closeness and will pull out because that's all it has to go
and
off
you can
of.
Idealize things or
yes. But what it can't do is it can't imagine another person that you may experience closeness with. So you'll go through like the Rolodex of people that you used to date. What about this person? What about this person? Maybe I'll hit up no, don't. I always tell people you have to trust the person, the present you has handled all problems. So we can trust present you to handle all problems in the future. And so also trust that present you, maybe now you're looking at as past you, but that present you made the right decision for present you in that moment.
Did it though?
Based on what the information it had at the time. It might have new information now.
Yeah.
But based on the information it had at the time, it made the best decision it knew how to do in the moment.
Yeah, forward motion only.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to think about that. That's interesting.
Yeah. Good list. That was fun.
Yeah, that was fun.
It was hopeful. Even though we said get rid of that.
Except for the floss.
I don't know. This is where we disagree. I think that's a genius idea. I'm just going to go out and get a whole thing of cake. Just prove a point.
Maybe they could make a contraption just for that, though. I don't want to use it. It makes me grosses me out.
Unflavored, because it would be bad if it were minty
or cinnamon or whatever.
Yeah,
nobody wants that on their cake.
No, unless it's like mint chocolate chip ice cream cake. In which case, bring it on.
I mean, this episode was wild because all of a sudden I got conservative.
Yeah,
I was like shitting on Sarah's cake cutting. I don't know.
Learned some life hacks, basically like how to be a person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you think you saw a mouse, though, you did.
Yep, you did, and there are more.
Thank you all know it to be true. Using our codes and leaving 5-star reviews and being a patron.
We read every single one. We love them.
We love them. We need to do one next week because I've been slacking on that. On the air. Patreon.com/braincandy is where all of our challenge content lives. And check out our merch, Support the show.
Fun.
We love
and
you.
We'll see you next time.
Bye. Okay, so do you remember a couple episodes ago when you informed me of the latest development in the Bigfoot saga?
Yeah, how could I forget?
Okay, well, and I mentioned I have this friend, Val, who's a Bigfoot enthusiast, and I wanted to get his 2 cents about it because he is serious biz about it. Like, I know it's funny, but he goes to these conferences and travels to them.
What do you mean there are conferences?
All these like-minded people come together and go squatching.
Squatching, definitely spelled with an apostrophe.
Yeah, they're never squatching. They're squatching, and they camp out overnight, and they try to spot
camp out overnight.
I'm
Susie.
serious. And what they're looking for,
they're just that. I feel like that already is funny because they're in the woods, they're camping. I feel like all they're doing is really cosplaying while they're standing in line.
Yeah, they become Bigfoot. You have to think like Bigfoot.
Oh my God.
But so in addition to wanting to spot him, have a sighting, they look for tracks. And then when they find a possible track, they put that plaster of Paris in it.
Yes, get a mold. Got it. Yes.
Get a mold.
I have seen CSI.
Okay. So that he's serious about this. So I decided I would have him on and I'd ask him questions about the new development because remember in the text messages he sent, he was like, oh, to the contrary. This is more validating, whatever.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm having him on the show and asking him about this. And here's my conclusion is, I don't think that Bigfoot is real. And what tipped the scales for me was that in this age of surveillance, of just cameras everywhere, including, drones and stuff in rural areas and satellites and cell phones.
Motion sensor stuff.
Yeah. We're still looking at that dumb footage.
Right.
But what did make me want to believe was, you'll hear in the interview, I was not aware that this Bigfoot, whose name, by the way, is Patty.
What do we ask him?
It's a girl.
Her?
The reason we know it's a girl is because, as Val describes, she has pendulous breasts.
Oh,
that
for
swing
Pete's sake.
to and fro.
Stop it.
Yeah. So I find out, though, what makes him think maybe it's, Bigfoot's real. And we have a discussion, and it is so fun. And I do want to believe, because it's just so fun to have like that sense of wonder and all that. But the camera thing makes me think like, seems like we'd have a little bit more footage by now.
Yeah.
So we'll let him make his case, and we'll poll the brainiacs and see what they believe. But either way, let's, if you ever get the chance, go squatching. And welcome Val Brkich to the show. This is your second time, I guess, but this time we're talking Squatch.
Yeah.
And you're an enthusiast. And Sarah had brought up that famous video that has since been stabilized that I said to her, seemed like, the Patterson Gimlin, whatever.
Yeah. And
I thought it was like a Rorschach, where like, if you already were inclined to believe in Bigfoot, then the video confirmed that. And if you were like, this is ridiculous, then it did that too. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I never really believed that video, like, for the longest time. And like, to me, it just, I don't know, it didn't match what I thought of as Bigfoot, and it just, I don't know, it was so bouncy, and like, you couldn't really see what's going on. And, but then like the most recent one that you guys are talking about, the AI enhanced one, to me, it just confirms that it is real, because the detail is just, I mean, you could see like muscles moving in the quads and the back. And, it just, for something that was made in 1967, there's no way that they could have made a costume like that in 1967 with the technology they had back then. Because like, I think Planet of the Apes came out 2 years later, and those costumes were just like, they didn't look real at all.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, what about, there's like that guy that claims that he created or sold that costume.
Yeah, Philip
the Patterson guy. What do you think? He's just full of shit?
I don't know. There's a lot of competition, like, in this community, like, for money, and people trying to make money off the subject. And I think there's certain people that are just wackos that like to, to spoil everybody else's fun, so he might've just been making this up because, he was upset that he didn't get the first footage or something like that,
Well, because wasn't that particular footage, wasn't it filmed in the same place as the other hoax, the Bigfoot footprint hoax?
I'm not familiar with that one.
Like, there was this guy, let me see.
You're thinking of Jerry Crew, 1958. He had a lumber company or something, and claimed like he was the first person to they coined Bigfoot based on the casts that he found. And it was near there. It was in Northern California. Yeah.
Because I was like, maybe that's why it was there, that this is just an extension of the same thread of hoaxing.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what I believe. I don't know what I believe about the Jerry Crew thing. I mean, he claimed that the prints that he found were 2 feet long by 8 inches wide. Like, 2 feet long is pretty.
That is a Bigfoot.
I mean, that's bigger than Shaq's foot, I think.
Okay, so like each there could be, like, you're acknowledging that some of these bozos could be just full of it. But
there's definitely hoaxers out there. But every year there's hundreds and hundreds of eyewitness sightings. There are hundreds of tracks that have been found over the years in super remote locations, like that no human would just go out into the middle of British Columbia, make some tracks. and then hope somebody just stumbles upon them. It's just not gonna. It just doesn't make sense. So, and like somebody, I think it was Cliff Barrickman from Finding Bigfoot. I think he said this, but even if just one of these is real, a lot of them could be hoaxes, but even if just one of them is real, then it proves the existence.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Well, I had mentioned on the episode that one of the things that the critics say is, how you never find like the dead bodies of these guys. And then the believers will say, well, maybe they know they're going to die and then they go hide or whatever. But then I thought, well, what if a tree fell on one of them? How come like nothing ever gets them when they're out,
Yeah, no, so like, it's funny. Some mornings I wake up and I'm like, I totally believe in this thing.
Yeah.
And then other mornings I'm like, you're a moron. Like, this is impossible, because those are my biggest things too, is, one, how we've never found a bones or a body, or one hasn't been hit by a semi truck or something like that. And then also, in order to have these things, you have to have a large enough for like a breeding population. It's not like there's just one walking around. There has to be literally like hundreds and hundreds, and they have to be living, in the same area, so that they can pass, they can reproduce. But I keep going back to the sightings, there's literally sightings that go all the way back to the early 1800s, and they were in newspapers, and the accounts that these people gave match the accounts that people are giving today. Like, some of it's yellow journalism of the 19th century or whatever, but a lot of the accounts are just, pretty amazing.
Let's say that they don't exist, that this is a figment of our imagination and all these people are just seeing something else. What were they seeing? Like, what are the possible things they could have seen if it isn't Bigfoot? Aliens?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of theories. So there's the just animal, the ape, undiscovered primate theory. But then there's people who believe, like you said, that they're aliens, that because they've been seen in the same times as UFOs. And so a lot of people think they were dropped off here by aliens. A lot of the Native American tribes, most of the Native American tribes in North America had a name for a creature like this, like some hairy man of the forest.
Right.
So a lot of them believed it was like a spiritual being that could go, in and out of reality, like maybe to other dimensions or whatever. So there's people who believe that. And also because they seem to just disappear. That's the weird thing, is like,
what do you mean by that?
Well, some people believe that kind of like an octopus can cloak itself to match whatever. Like, people have seen these walking and all of a sudden just kind of dissolve away and disappear,
Oh, that's fun. I like that.
Yeah. And then they've also found trackways. Like, there was this one trackway that I read about that went across this field, like a farmer's field, and he followed them, and all of a sudden the tracks just ended right in the middle of the field. And there was no other tracks going any other direction. So what happened?
See, that's so fun. And that's why I can understand why you become an enthusiast, because it doesn't really matter to me if they exist or not. Like, it's just fun. Yeah.
Well, that's me too. It's the same way. Like I said, every day I can't figure out which side I'm on, but I love the subject, and I always have since I was a little kid. I was always taking the library books out about Bigfoot, and now it's like crazy because people keep giving. I just got a T-shirt last night. It has Starry Starry Night in the background, and there's Bigfoot on the front of it. Somebody dropped it off my porch.
No.
Yeah, and then I showed you my Bigfoot bobblehead somebody got me for my birthday. My friend George.
Well, and if you think about this idea about you, which I think is probably representative of the larger group, what do you think it is? What does it spark for you? It's more than just Bigfoot.
Oh, yeah. Well, life is just, being an adult sucks.
It's so boring. Bad. It's the worst.
Yeah. And the older you get, you're like, I guess this is it. It's really not going to, get much better. So, but the whole Bigfoot thing kind of brings out the kid in me, and it's like, not everything has been discovered yet in the world. There's still mystery out there. And there's actually another group of people. I've read a book about this. Can't remember the author's name, but he believes that that we have manifested Bigfoot out of our need to have a connection between man and nature.
Yeah.
Like this primal part of us, and I don't know. For me, I just love the mystery of it. I part of me, I wish they would never find out if it's real or not, but another part of me is like, well, if they are real, we want to protect them. So, protect their land. But this is not just like a U.S. thing either. This is worldwide.
Right. That's the thing. And to me, that's why I feel like it's more about something about the human condition that either they exist or there's something about it that we want to believe for some bigger purpose, some spiritual reason.
Yeah. I don't know.
You're right.
I think it would shake everything up. There's people who think that the government's hiding it. I'm not sure why the government would care about this, but because they're saying it would rock the foundations of religion and what we know about humanity and beliefs like that. But I don't see that. Like, it could just, we already know that there was different forms of like human ancestors that branched off in different ways. So this just could be a relic, something like that. But
you've gone to like the conferences or whatever.
Yeah.
What would you say is the percentage of true Looney Tunes at that? Is it mostly just regular people like you who are just find it fun and it's exciting, or there's a large percentage that are like cuckoo crazy?
Well, okay. So the ones I went to the Bigfoot conference in Ohio a few years back. And
what's it called? Is it called just
the Ohio Bigfoot Conference? Yeah.
Okay.
It sells out in days. Like it's coming up in May. It's already sold out.
Okay.
But all the big names in the Bigfoot world are there. So like you get to meet them and these celebrities. You see
all the big names in the Bigfoot world.
Oh, there's lots. So I've gone there. When I went there, it was mostly people just curious, but there was, we sat around the fire one night and I was just talking to people and like, have you ever seen anything? Like, oh yeah. And the one guy showed me pictures from his backyard of this thing poking its head out from behind a tree.
No.
And he's like, look, I'm just a dentist and I don't know what this thing is, but I took pictures of it. And then I saw another guy, he was this old guy who said when he was younger, he was sitting up on this hill in Ohio and he looking out into a cornfield and he saw this giant white creature walking through the corn that had to be at least 7 feet tall. And that's what's weird about Ohio. They have Ohio and Western Pennsylvania, they've seen white ones. So like almost completely white.
Hey, how there's some animal, I don't know what the heck it is, a deer or something. It's not a deer, but they change to white fur in the winter to match the snow.
Yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah.
It could be like that where it's the same animal, but then in the seasons it changes its color.
Yeah. Or it could just be middle age and like me.
Right. It's just an elderly one.
Yeah. But then I went to another conference in Pennsylvania and there was some guy there, this older guy who was a professor and he was an expert on quantum physics. And his whole claim was that he thinks these creatures, that's how they disappear and reappear. Just like in quantum physics, they can get atoms to like almost time travel and just disappear. And so he has this whole theory about that, but I didn't really understand it because I'm just an English major.
You know how there's that one anthropology professor that's like the lone wolf who
Jeffrey Meldrum.
Yeah. Like, I don't mean to be mean because he's probably really smart and nice and everything, but it does feel a little bit like that one idiot scientist who like doesn't believe in climate change. Yeah.
No, I understand. I can see where you're coming from there, but I've met Dr. Meldrum a couple of times and he's very straight laced.
Okay.
And I've read, he has like academic papers online that you can read about.
Like he's legit in every way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he totally believes in the Patterson-Gimlin film just because, he studies like foot morphology and he's seen the casts from it where there's like fingerprints on the toes, like things that would be almost impossible to replicate.
Yeah.
But then there was another guy named Grover Krantz who was an anthropologist. He passed away, I think, in the early 2000s. But anyways, he was a believer. And there's a video of him online showing how that walk that Patty is doing in the film is almost impossible.
Patty is the name of the Bigfoot in the film. I don't know why they call her that.
Because, well, it's just, Patterson. It's just Patty Patterson. And that's another thing, not to jump, but that just reminded me. If you're going to create a fake Bigfoot costume in 1967, like you want to create something that's big and scary and whatever, why would you create a female with these large breasts like swinging around, and
Patty has big boobs?
Oh yeah.
I had no idea.
Oh yeah. You got to watch the video real close. Yeah. That's why it's a she. It's Patty.
Oh, I wondered.
Yeah.
Holy heck.
And the way she's walking, like Grover Krantz said, you can't make humans don't walk like that. Like the knees are bent the entire time. Like if a human walks, when your leg goes to the back, it straightens out and then it just bends a little bit as you take your next step. But in the video, Patty's legs are like bent the entire time. And when she turns and looks at the camera, like that ground there was just covered with rocks and branches and everything. And they said, well, how could a person wearing a gorilla suit where you can't see very well be able to walk like that and not trip and fall on their face?
Yeah, right. She was probably looking at the camera like, stop staring at my tits, you perv. Oh my God. I can't believe that.
Uh-huh.
I feel like I just changed my mind about this video. I swear. Because you're right. If I were making that suit, I sure as heck would not add giant tits.
Yeah. It just, no way.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay. And I agree with you that the suit, if it were a suit, is far more convincing than the Planet of the Apes ones.
Yeah. Somebody said that you would have had to take each hair and put it in one at a time. Like it would have taken forever. And that, the guy who's claimed to fake it, or the guy who was in the suit, Bob Hieronymus, said that he wore like football pads for the shoulders and that there was a zipper in the back. But I mean, if you look at the video, that doesn't, I don't see that.
And that guy, he passed a lie detector test. He claimed that he was in the suit and he passed the lie detector test, but you feel like it's not true.
I mean, Patterson, before he died, passed a lie detector test about the video
saying
as well.
It was real or fake?
Saying it was real. So.
Oh my God.
So that's why they don't use
crazy.
Polygraphs. Yeah. It's like the biggest mystery in the world.
It's so fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
All right. Well, I guess that's it. Is there anything I didn't cover that you feel like we need to cover about it?
I don't know. This is my first time being a Bigfoot pundit. So,
well, I mentioned on the episode that I never could tell whether you genuinely believed or whether you thought it was just funny. Because you always smile whenever I'm like, come on, Val. Yeah. And you're always smiling. But I feel like it's because you're on the fence. But then whenever somebody kind of laughs about it, you don't want that to be.
Yeah, I guess I'm like 51. I'm more like more leaning towards the believer side, but then like I'm also a rational human being, and so I keep going through my brain like there's no way, like where's the bones, where's but there's tons of evidence, it's just not the bodies. So I don't know.
Well, I really find it fun, and I want it to be true.
Yeah,
but I don't know if it is.
Me too, but I don't know if I want it to ever be revealed.
Yeah, because we need wonder in our lives as adults, and it's very rare to find that.
Absolutely.
So we should just enjoy the mystery.
Yeah. And we should go squatching this summer. That'd be fun.
Oh my God. Are you going to the one in May?
No, I've been to that one before, but that one's already sold out. But a couple friends that I met at this other conference were talking about going to the Laurel Highlands in Pennsylvania and doing some nighttime squatching this year. So I thought that would be fun.
That is fun. Well, Val is an amazing writer, and he writes about all kinds of things, but don't you have a book about this very subject?
Well, that's funny you should say that, because I have it right here.
Look, Bigfoot slept here.
Yeah, a partly true but way more exciting history of one small town. So there's there's stories in here about not just Bigfoot, but like Dog Man. If you ever heard of Dog Man?
No.
The Owl Man. Oh yeah, the Dog Man is seen in the Midwest and like Wisconsin, and they see this creature that looks like a werewolf. Like tons of people have seen this. But then there's the Owl Man in here, and then there's stories about UFOs and river monsters and things. So
that's really fun. I will include a link in our show notes for them to grab your book.
Cool, thanks.
And we'll show them where they can follow you and all that jazz. But it's fun, and I'm glad that you're helping me to understand this community. And you remember how we were talking about the Flat Earth community on Brain Candy and how, like, obviously I think it's ridiculous, but what they get out of it is a sense of belonging and
a community.
Yeah, where they're not going to be judged for having maybe a different hobby or interest. And I feel like this could be true of the Squatchers also.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There's definitely a Bigfoot community. And unfortunately there's like a big rift down the middle. Like,
what are they fighting about?
Oh, there's warring. There's the people who think it's a flesh and blood creature. And then there's the people who think it's an alien, a ghost, an interdimensional traveler or whatever.
Why would they fight about it?
Well, the people on the science side, like Jeffrey Meldrum and Cliff Barackman and stuff, they're trying to
legitimize it. Yeah.
So they don't really get along with these.
They're like, shh.
Yeah.
Don't say stupid stuff. I see.
Yeah.
But hey, I think that's equally as interesting. What if it is?
Yeah. Oh, man, that would be great if it was like some interdimensional traveler.
Yeah, I'm into that too. All right. Well, thank you for sharing your insight. It is so much fun. And I'm sure the
pleasure.
Brainiacs will enjoy you as always.
All right. Well, thanks for having me. I'll let you know when we find them. You'll be the first to know.